lesson, we're going to dive into the key of B minor. This lesson is going to be more of just kind of gaining some fretboard knowledge as well as some music theory knowledge. The first part of the lesson, we're just going to learn that B minor scale kind of in the open position, and then we're going to really focus on getting the names of the notes of each note in the scale memorized. After that, part two, I'm going to kind of go over the chord progression that I made in the backing track, because we're going to be using the backing tracks a lot in this lesson. It's a 4-chord progression. I'm going to show you how to play those chords, kind of give you a nice picking pattern to kind of goof around with those chords with as well. And then in part three, we're really going to kind of dissect those chords. We're going to learn what notes make up each chord in the progression. So we're going to be basically memorizing the chord tones of each chord, learning how each note is functioning in that chord. And then in part four of the lesson, it's just going to be a scale sequence that you can play against the backing tracks, against the chord progression. It's pretty easy to learn. It'll be kind of fun to play at first. Eventually you're going to want to add to it and kind of make it even more musical. But the idea is for you to kind of be able to play the sequence and then analyze the sequence and kind of pinpoint where the chord tones are depending on which chord you're playing over. Overall, the main goal of this lesson is to help you create lines and create melodies with the knowledge of chord tones, learning the fretboard a little more, maybe getting a roll pattern that you haven't learned before, and also just becoming a better musician. If you'd like to access this complete lesson, go ahead and click in the link in the video description below. You can also subscribe to my email list by clicking in another link in the description below as well. You'll get notified when new lessons are available, as well as other things Dobro related. Thank you. All right, so let's take a look at this B minor scale here. I'm just going to go ahead and play the shape that I wrote here. It's mostly in the open position. There's a kind of a couple different ways to start it. I'm going to start it on a way that's kind of probably be the more common way you're going to end up playing it. And then I'll show you the other option after that. But yeah, I'll go ahead and just kind of play the scale pattern that I have tabbed out here, and then we'll go over the notes. It's important to kind of memorize the notes of this scale for this lesson, because the next step is we're going to be tackling the chords, and we're going to talk about the chord tones of each chord in the progression of the play-along track. So being aware of what the names of those notes are, and it'll just make it easier for you to find those notes. Alright, so here's the scale pattern. Yeah, so let's go over that scale here. So we got the 4th fret of the 6th string, 2nd fret of the 5th string. On string, then we got the 4th string open, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 3rd string open, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 2nd string, 2nd fret, 1st string open, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret. Right, and that's going to be 2 full octaves. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of play the first octave here. Alright, so that's the lower octave. The higher octave would be... Right? So you kind of want to get that pattern memorized and have some fun with it, and then we can start tackling the names of the notes if you don't know them already. So go ahead and just practice the pattern, get the sound in your head. Alright, so the other option, like I said before, that you have to play this scale, I'm starting it on the 4th fret of the 6th string which is a B note. Our 5th string open is also a B note, so that's really important to know, right? So you could actually start that scale on the 5th string, kind of go that way. Instead of starting on the 4th fret, they're both correct answers, right? So it's good to know both options there. That the 4th fret's kind of common because this is where our B chord is on the dobro, that 4th fret. You know, again, I'm going to talk about the chords a little bit, so we'll get a B minor chord there at the 4th fret. But a lot of times, yeah, you're going to be at that 4th fret when you're thinking B minor. So that's why I kind of wanted to start that way first. But it's also very important to know that you got that B at that 5th string open as well, and that's going to help you with other types of licks. You know, some of those faster licks. Right? And then the other place where that happens in the scale is I'm playing that B note at the 4th fret of the 3rd string. You can play the B note with your 2nd string open, right? So instead of playing that 4th fret of the 3rd string, you would hit the 2nd string open. Right? That might be built for a little more, like I said, some speed. And then everything else would remain the same in the scale. And hammer on friendly there, right? So both, kind of looking at it in both ways. You get the 2nd and 5th string open as your root, or you can play those roots at the 6th and 3rd string at the 4th fret. Probably equally as important in the long run to know both options there.